Hello everyone, and thank you for taking some time to join this webinar on our new exam administration guide, which we hope will help support you as we go into the exam season. The aim of this webinar is to update you and assist in answering some questions around the exam administration guidance. If you have any questions, there will be a Q&A session after the presentation. We hope this will be a benefit to you and demonstrates why these steps are so important for your students, ensuring that their exam scripts are received, marked, and results processed without delay. We start by discussing the purpose of these requirements and the potential consequences. We design these requirements to ensure that exams are completed under the required conditions, that we can ensure candidates' work is authenticated, and so we can prevent malpractice. Not adhering to these requirements can lead to late results or even, in extreme circumstances, exams not being marked. Below are some examples. Using the wrong coloured pen. This may sound trivial, but scanning doesn't pick up red pen or pencil, and this means delays in scripts being marked. In addition to this, there is further manual intervention from our operations team to ensure the exam script is marked. We will cover throughout the presentation the do's and don'ts, but on the right side of this slide are the potential consequences of not meeting requirements. What can be taken from this is that these scenarios cause delays. For example, if scripts are not returned within 48 hours, there are delays to marking. This then will cause delays to processing the candidate's results, which can impact your students and potentially students from other centres who sat the same qualification. We have broken this presentation into 3 segments: preparing for the exam, during the exam, after the exam, and returning scripts. So we'll start with preparing for the exam. On receipt of the examination materials from City and Guilds, please check against the accompanying delivery note that you have received what you are expecting. We would ask you to complete an additional check for the multiple choice exams. Do the MA and MC match? Mismatches need to be reported to the below email address or phone number. Non-receipt of examination materials. If the exam materials don't match what you're expecting, please again contact our customer service team using the details on the slide. Remember, the sealed examination bags must be stored securely until the day of the exam. Preparing for the exam, conducting exams. This slide shows 2 important links. The first, under conducting exams, the link to the JCQ and the role of the invigilator, and the second is a link provided if suspected malpractice has occurred. We ask that your invigilators or exams officers read this guidance and ensure that they understand it. Preparing for the exam. We are now moving on to the processes to adhere to on the day of the exam. It is the role of your administrator to ensure the following. Candidates must use a pen with black or blue ink only. We have already touched on the importance of this. The pre-printed barcodes on the front page of the examination paper must not be defaced. Question papers for absent candidates must not be given to any other candidate unless discussed with City and Guilds as part of an emergency QP process. Invigilators must ensure that the correct examination paper is given out to the right candidate. Candidates must write their responses on the exam paper or multiple choice answer sheet only. Any answers written on the source documents, question booklet, will not be marked. An example of this, where a candidate has written their multiple choice answers on the answer booklet and not the answer sheet form. Before the exam starts, please ensure that the candidate barcode labels are stuck on the front of the answer booklet. These are the label stickers that contain the candidate name and their enrolment number. Stick the label within the borders as the slide shows. This barcode is scanned. If it is slightly outside the parameters set, this isn't picked up by our scanners. This causes delays in getting the script marked and can lead to mistakes if the details don't align with your booking. Hand out the scripts to the specified candidates. It's important to ensure that the candidate completes the front cover of their script. For multiple choice exams, please ensure the MA and MC match. Do not photocopy packet or candidate labels, and do not put a label on an unused question paper. During the exam, invigilation certificates and exam stationery. Candidate attendance indicator. Each invigilation certificate must be completed with a present or absent mark in the column provided on the IC. The invigilator's signature, you must sign each IC in the section provided. Pre-printed data. The IC must not have manual amendments or annotations. If you are missing QPs or ICs that you're expecting, please contact City and Guilds customer service team. An example of this would be if the IC assessment details or candidate name were changed. Completion of forms. Complete this form clearly in black or blue ink, as examples in the next slide show. To ensure there aren't delays to marking, the IC must be filled in completely. Missing present or absent statuses on the IC will mean that you will need to be contacted to confirm attendance. This slide shows a scanned image of an IC and a multiple choice for dated exams. Note the name is clearly marked and details are clear. The IC is signed by the invigilator and the top pre-printed text has not been changed. The multiple choice MA/MC also shows the format of the IC you should receive. If your IC or MC is not in this format, please contact City and Guilds customer services. The address of where to dispatch scripts to after the exam is featured in the bottom right corner of the IC. So to recap, checklist for completing your invigilation certificate. Please remember to make sure the invigilation certificate is signed and dated by the invigilator. Make sure only the pre-printed stationery which we provided has been used. Make sure the invigilation certificate is accurately completed, ensuring that the present absent checklist has been completed by clearly marking the appropriate box. Ensure each candidate line has a present absent mark indicated by a tick. Please avoid crossing out any of the pre-printed details on the invigilation certificate, as this will cause delays in processing the exam material. Avoid using a red pen when completing the IC. Please do not substitute candidates under any circumstances, and avoid photocopying multiple choice answer booklets. The only time this is acceptable is when this has been previously discussed with City and Guilds as part of an emergency question paper process. This slide indicates examples of error on an invigilation certificate. Example 1 shows there is no confirmation of present-absent status. This will cause a delay and will mean that we must contact you for further confirmation, as we cannot confirm that attendance. Example 2 shows there is no signature on the IC. It is a requirement that this is signed by the invigilator. And example 3 shows an extra tick on this screenshot. This will need to be queried, as we must ensure we can reconcile each booking you have made. This slide shows atypical candidates. These fall outside of normal processes, such as when an emergency question paper are requested. This must be arranged between City and Guilds and the centre. This is usually in exceptional circumstances, and you may need to complete a manual IC or exam scripts. Please follow the advice on this slide. It is important that scripts and ICs must be completed as clearly as possible. Returning scripts to City and Guilds. It is the centre's responsibility to ensure that all details required on examination documents are completed in full and that the information provided is correct. Incomplete or inaccurate data or incorrectly completed forms will inevitably cause a delay in processing and may affect the issue of results. Once the exam has finished, please ensure all papers and their IC are packaged together and placed inside the grey City and Guilds plastic envelope. Do not mix IC and scripts from different assessments. The correct UK return label must be placed in the centre of the grey plastic envelope. Please only return the grey envelope to the address provided and nowhere else. The grey plastic envelope must be sealed. The centre number, assessment number, and number of scripts, including absent and present candidates, should be clearly written in the box at the top left. Please do not return any unused question papers, answer booklets, or source books. You must destroy these securely. Please note there is no prepaid postage label supplied. It is the responsibility of the centre to pay and track delivery via a courier. The screenshot on the left of the slide shows the packet label. This must be stuck onto the grey envelope in the space shown. This ensures that when it arrives at our scanning supplier, it can be processed quickly. It's important to also enter your centre number, assessment number, and the number of candidates in the grey plastic envelope, as this also ensures that any papers that are missing are quickly identified. For multiple choice exams, the exam stationery must be sent to SCC, Coal Valley 2, 10 Westwood Avenue, Coal Valley Business Park, Tyseley, Birmingham, B113RF. For written exams, the stationery must be sent to StoreTech Services Limited, care of City and Guilds, Unit 4, Sidings Business Park, Freightliner Road, Hull, HU3 4XA. Please do not return exam stationery to any other address. If you are unsure of where to send this exam papers back, please contact our customer services team via the details earlier in this presentation. This is the end of our presentation. We will now open this out for any questions.